Welcome back to my herb journey series. This is the second video, so part two. Since part one, I have completed all of my notes for lessons 1 and 2 of the Rosemary Gladstar course. I have partially completed the homework for number 1, and I have just started the homework for number 2. A lot of this is happening in like staggered steps. It's overwhelming. I really do feel that my brain is being pulled in many different directions, namely in many different herb directions. Like one plant will pique my interest 1 hour, the next plant will pique my interest the next hour. So I find myself often telling myself to just recenter and refocus on one herb at a time, because a lot of times the herb will also make mention of another herb relative, it will make mention of herbs that it pairs with well, and then my attention span is just like taken in a complete other direction. But no complaints, because it's really fun jumping from plant to plant, and then as long as I just stay focused on the homework as my spine for all of this learning, I will be okay. Today I'm at the apothecary and I am harvesting violets. There are so many violets in our little garden in the back, and I'm trying to make space, most notably for the skullcap to grow, because the violet is like taking over all of the resources that the skullcap would use. So come outside with me and let's harvest some more. So this is the skull cap here that now has much more room to grow. So I'm excited to see how that keeps going. Oh, did you tip? This is skull cap. This is yarrow that is thriving very nicely. And I'm just gonna clear up some more space here. It's also just such a dream being at work and then during the lulls stepping back into the garden. I love the way that it breaks up my day, especially because most of today I was sitting at my computer working on my notes, and so whenever I would get tired of the screen, I would pop outside to the back, pick some violets, come back inside, and just did that over and over again. So I mentioned this in a previous video of mine, I think the summer plan with me, where I have this intense resistance to actually building up the raised beds, because I'm nervous to, in a physical way, actually plant roots here. But I've got a pretty sweet indoor garden going so far. It's very minimal, but it's a starting point. Yeah, I had a pathos plant that I wanted to plant, and the next step is moving my items from my pots into the raised bed. So we'll see if I get to that this video. I'm not sure if I will, because I don't know, it's like a big it's a big block for me, but it's okay. I have procrastinated planting this pothos cutting for so long, but I'm finally gonna do it. I'm so excited. Oh my god, I love you. Okay, check it out. Here I have onion, peppers, onion, a pathos plant, onion, peppers. And then over here I have parsley, basil, and chive. And over here also parsley, basil, and chive. So that is my setup as of now. And now I'm gonna clean up this mess here that I made. In this video, I also want to go over doing a deep dive on dandelion, a deep dive on elderberry and elderflower, and a deep dive on wormwood. Those are the areas of focus that I'm choosing for my Wheel of the Year course, which is what I'm taking with my boss at the herb store where I work. So we'll see if I weave that into this video. One resource that I found over the last few weeks that isn't a part of either of the courses I'm taking is this plant map. The video about it explains evolutionarily the chronological order of how all of these plants came to be, and it's been really useful for me in kind of placing more logic behind certain of the Latin names for the plants I've been learning about, as well as how some plants are related in very strange and unexpected ways. A couple of examples being that the cacao tree is related to hibiscus. That really surprised me. Roses are related to figs and to the cannabis plant, and fuchsia flowers are related to pomegranates. This one doesn't surprise me because I've recently been more aware of what a pomegranate flower looks like, and it is very bright in fuchsia. So yeah, I'm really glad that I found this, and I've also had a good time talking to some of my other herbalist friends about this map. Anyway, somebody just came into the herb store and they dropped this book off as a gift for a read, and I'm flipping through it and it looks so interesting. I can't wait to read it. And this is also incredible timing because just this morning I was updating my book list and I added this book onto my book list, and I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be hard to come by at the libraries because it's a very recent release. And then it just showed up here today, like right before the workday is over. So this is such a treat. And look at how beautiful this cover is. Forest Euphoria. Oh, I'm so excited to read this. I've recently gotten into the habit of, when I pick up a new book, making sure to read the table of contents as if it's a poem. And if I like that poem, then I feel inclined that I will like that book. So let's see this one. Interspecies dens, slugs, snails, and other ways of being, swamp creatures, fungal personhood, cemetery crows, purple love, community time, the magnetism of eels. Spring ephemerals, here today, gone tomorrow, epilogue, forest euphoria. This sounds so good. I'm so excited. Call upon the help of those who love you. These helpers take many forms: animal, element, bird, angel, saint, stone, ancestor. Ain't that the truth? All right, so by way of the 3 deep dives that I wanted to do, I wouldn't say that I did a wholehearted deep dive. I did a shallow dive on all 3 of these herbs, but I did want to talk about them. Wormwood was a very interesting one. It was introduced to me as an anti-parasitic. It's extremely effective in getting rid of tapeworms, apparently. It's also one of the original cures for malaria and for people who are resistant to malaria pharmaceutical treatment. Wormwood will also be often the alternative. It's a very close relative of mugwort, and I'm noticing that I'm mixing up when I'm trying to identify mugwort versus wormwood. I also got tripped up because when I was looking up the translation into Armenian, oshindur came up, which is the word for mugwort, and so in my head I've like misassociated the difference in the leaves with the wrong plant. So I just have a mental note made to make sure that I realign how I identify those plants and not to misconstrue them, because even though they are closely related, they do have rather different medicinal applications. Wormwood, for example, you would only work with in very short intervals of time, and it's not really recommended for any kind of older, more frail or weaker type of bodies. Anyway, it's also something that I think by name is curious to me. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why did I not look up why this is the name of it? Why is it called wormwood? Anyway, I'll find out before the next video. The next shallow dive that I did was with dandelion, and dandelion is cool because it is the most abundantly found plant on Earth. It grows on almost every continent, like excluding Antarctica or the Arctic, I believe, and it's an extremely really mineral dense plant. It actually has more vitamin A and vitamin C than tomatoes, which I guess like have a reputation of being high in vitamin C, but dandelion root is also often seen as a weed that people are getting rid of a lot, right? And so it was just really stunning to learn that it has so many benefits for the body. It's also a gentle diuretic, so that means it makes urine leave your body more. So if you have like toxins happening, if you need more waste to leave your body, it aids in that, but it's not like as strong as some other diuretics. I also was really into the kind of more abstract concept of how a dandelion patch or a field of dandelions will often have a closed one, an open one, and the one that's gone to seed, the fluffy version. And I saw a video somewhere that was articulating it along the lines of the plant that shows you the moon, the sun, and the stars, like all within its life cycle. And I thought that was so beautiful. And yeah, dandelions are just so special also as a childhood association, because I do remember making dandelion wreaths. And again, I feel like we were so just like blasé about what a disposable flower this is, even when you weave it together. Also, I did want to try making spaghetti out of the stems. People take the dandelion stems when they've gone to seed. I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, gone to seed, but when it goes fluffy, they use the stem of it to make like a pasta replacement, and that sounds so cool. I'm very curious to know what it would taste like, but I haven't tried that yet, but it's on my radar. All right, and last but not least was elder flower and berry. I like this plant for the implied wisdom that comes with the name. It's also a very powerful plant in terms of how wide its applications are. Like, it's been historically used for so many things. I mean, most popularly for cold and flu support, but also for like eye aches, for topical skin issues. Oh, it's a diaphoretic, which means that it promotes perspiration. If you notice, the words that are new to me, I say the meaning because they haven't been imprinted as definitions for me yet, and there are just so many new words to learn. Just the categories of herbs like these: alterative, emulsant, antiviral, antilithotropic, antilithic, antibiotic. Yeah, it's just, there are so many categories, and obviously all of the overlap that exists between them. It's like such a big puzzle. So anyway, our vocab in the sphere of plant world and biology is definitely expanding. Yeah, so I was mentioning that it's a diaphoretic, which means it promotes perspiration, which is also great when you need like a virus or any kind of toxins to leave your body. Because if I'm not mistaken, sweating, is it the quickest way that toxins leave a body, or is it urine? I'll look that up later. Yeah, so those are my 3 little shallow dives into those plants. And actually, I haven't chosen the plant for this month's focus. Yeah, I'll have to go back to the list and see what it is. It's nervines. Yeah, I'll pick one from the list, and then that'll be in the next video. And the other thing I've been doing in the background is building a beautiful relationship with hibiscus-based cold infusions. I have been cold infusing, well, I started with just cold infusing solo hibiscus, but now I've been adding to it things along the lines of lemongrass, peppermint, nettle, skullcap, and catnip. I am somebody who loves drinking cold water, but as you know, cold water is not good for the body because it like tightens everything that you don't want to be tightened as your digestive system is going on. So anyway, long story short is I've known for a long time that because I drink so much cold water that I'm not actually hydrating myself, and I can feel it as well. I can also tell by how quickly I pee after I drink a lot of water. Like the body, like based on that speed, like how would my body even absorb that hydration that fast? So the thing that the hibiscus is doing for me is helping me absorb the hydration into my body, and I feel a big difference. And it's also just been a pleasure to make my little water bottle every morning because it's a beautiful color. Sometimes I add rose. So yeah, the relationship with hibiscus has been beautiful, and doing sun infused teas also feels extra magical. Speaking of a solar infusion. Yes, a sun-infused tea is a solar infusion. I did do my first ever lunar infusion, and the lunar infusion, the herb that I chose for that was mugwort, which, as you know, is very dream-inducing, very kind of otherworldly, yeah, and floaty. And I loved pairing that energy with the full moon. The full moon that we had here about 2 weeks ago was on a cloud-free night, so I really feel like the direct moonlight permeated, the absorption of the mugwort infusion. So yeah, I'm gonna continue experimenting with more cold infusion recipes. I'm not drinking hot tea too much these days, but there's plenty to explore on the cold side of things. Speaking of a cold infusion that I really want to try is marshmallow root, which turns into this very slippery, slimy kind of okra-like texture, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm very curious if I will love it texturally or hate it texturally, because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be neutral about it. So I'll try that for the next video as well. So I'm gonna wrap up this part 2 of my herb series because this video is getting a little bit long. I have basically finished all of my lesson 1 homework, and I need to get started on lesson 2 homework. Part of the lesson 2 homework is making salves. I do not appreciate the texture of lotion or cream or salve or anything that needs to be rubbed into the skin. I just avoid it. It's terrible because I don't wear sunscreen because I hate rubbing anything into my skin. And I'm also finding it quite inconvenient now in my herb studies because the next chapter is about salves and oil infusions. I think that my point of entry for oil infusions will be coming up with an oil infusion for my scalp care. So because I have experience with oiling my hair, that's somewhere where I feel less resistance. But in terms of rubbing things into my skin, I'm not too sure what route I'm going to go in terms of experimentation, because so much of the herbal learning is about practicing on yourself and how your own body reacts. And I really don't have too much inclination to test any kind of salves on myself. But whatever, I won't think about that too much right now. I'll focus on my hair oil recipe. And also I'm going to do a infused coconut oil for oil pulling in the mouth, probably with cloves, cinnamon. We'll see if I think of something else for the oral care. And yeah, thank you so much for tagging along for this journey, the part 2 of this very long journey that I'm gonna have. And I'm greatly looking forward to seeing you in the next video, where I will be continuing my studies in a plethora of ways, and I'll update you on all of the opened threads that have already occurred in this series. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.